Hey everyone, and welcome. So, you know that feeling, right? You have this amazing idea, this goal that could literally change your life, but then you just don't do it. You get stuck. Well, you are definitely not alone. Today, we're going to dive deep into self-discipline and break down a super practical method to finally close that gap between thinking and actually doing. Let's get into it.
So where does this whole journey start? Well, for a lot of us, it kicks off with one of those crystal clear moments. You know, when you suddenly see the space between the life you're dreaming of and the one you're actually living. And oof, it can be a tough pill to swallow. And wow, this quote just hits home, doesn't it? It's that nagging feeling, that sense of potential just sitting there, collecting dust. You know you're capable of more. You've got these huge dreams, but something is holding you back. And it's not a lack of wanting it. It feels more like this invisible wall you just can't seem to break through.
For the person who said that, the big wake-up call came from a photograph, a single picture from 2014. And it wasn't just about how she looked. It was way deeper than that. She saw someone who was just kind of floating through life, discouraged, and not really living. That picture was the spark. It was the moment she knew something had to change.
Which brings us to the big central question, right? We want it badly. So what is this force that keeps tripping us up? Well, here's the twist. The enemy we're fighting? It isn't out there somewhere. The call is coming from inside the house.
Okay, so if you want to win a fight, you've got to know your opponent. And in the battle for self-discipline, your main adversary is something we can call your inner saboteur. It's that tricky part of your own mind that seems to work against everything you're trying to achieve.
Honestly, the best way to picture this is the classic Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde story. We've all got two sides. There's the rational, thoughtful Dr. Jekyll part of you that plans for the future, and then there's the impulsive, pleasure-seeking Mr. Hyde who just wants what feels good right this second. And these two, they're in a constant tug-of-war.
And here's that fight in a nutshell. Your rational self is the one who buys the healthy groceries and sets the alarm for an early workout. But your inner saboteur, that's the one whispering, just hit the snooze button. Or, come on, one little piece of cake won't hurt. It craves comfort right now, and it couldn't care less about your long-term goals. This is the fundamental struggle.
So how does this saboteur actually work? Oh, it's got a whole playbook of sneaky tricks. It's a flaw seeker, always pointing out what could go wrong with your plan. It hits you with negativism, that little voice saying you'll never be able to do that. Sometimes it mixes them both into pure defeatism, so you don't even try. And of course, its go-to moves are delayism. You know, the classic, I'll start in 5 minutes. And escapism, which tells you to just quit as soon as it gets a little hard. All right, so recognizing the enemy is a huge first step. But how do we actually beat it? Not with wishful thinking, that's for sure. You need a real, concrete strategy. A battle plan. So let's check it out.
The answer we're digging into today is a 10-day framework. And let's be super clear. This is not about finding some magical burst of willpower. It's about treating self-discipline as a skill, something you can build day by day, just like a muscle. This is your training program. And this 10-day plan is broken down so perfectly into 3 simple phases. The first 3 days are all about reconnaissance, understanding the fight by spotting your fears and negative thoughts. Then for the next 3 days, you go on the offensive. You master taking action and being consistent. And finally, the last 4 days are all about rewiring your brain, making discipline a part of who you are. Okay, we've got the high-level strategy. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty, the tools that actually make this whole thing work. This is where we stop just thinking and start doing. Okay, you need to remember this one. It's maybe the most powerful tool in the whole arsenal. The 5-minute rule. Your inner saboteur loves to make tasks look like giant, impossible mountains. This rule completely short-circuits that. You don't tell yourself, I have to clean the whole house. You just say, I'll put away the dishes for 5 minutes. Getting started is always the hardest part, and this makes it almost ridiculously easy. I absolutely love this quote. If you're going to make room for your goals, you have to protect your time and your energy. And that means you need a healthy dose of vitamin N. And what's N for? No. Learning to say no to things that pull you off track isn't selfish. It is absolutely essential for staying focused. The plan is also packed with other critical habits. You've got to use positive self-talk. It might sound a little cheesy, but telling yourself, I am disciplined, actually starts to rewire your brain. And you have to reframe failure. It's not the end of the world. It's just data.
It's a chance to learn what didn't work and try something new. And maybe most importantly, you have to celebrate the small wins. That's what builds momentum. So let's imagine you've done the 10 days. You've fought the battles, you've used the tools, you've seen some progress. What happens on day 11? The point isn't to be in a constant grinding battle with yourself forever. The final step is all about transformation. It's about making discipline an automatic habit. Think of it like learning to drive. At first, you're white-knuckling the wheel, thinking about every single move. But after a while, you just drive. The goal is to make the disciplined choice the easy choice, the one you don't even have to think about. And this brings us to the real endgame, building what the source calls a self-regulating system. Basically, you're installing your own internal coach. It's a system inside you that instinctively keeps you on track, motivates you when you're feeling low, and helps you course correct when you mess up, all without that exhausting inner fight. So there you have it. We've laid out the problem, we've identified the enemy, and we've walked through the battle plan. The steps are clear, so really there's only one question left, and it's for you. What will you do on your day 1? What is that first small step you're going to take?